All right, faithful, what's up? Welcome in. You're watching the 49ers Report right here on Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. It is a Sunday, and we're really going to recap everything that's big going down with this football team right now. Hope all of you had a fantastic weekend. If you're watching this on Monday, hope your weeks are off to a good start. So I want to start off today's show by taking an updated look at the NFC Playoff Picture. Like you, I was on my couch on Saturday, and I was watching the Minnesota Vikings go down 33-0 to the Indianapolis Colts, thinking that if they were to lose that football game, San Francisco, a golden opportunity to take over the number 2 seed in the NFC. That's really important for a couple of reasons, because that means that the 49ers would host a wild card playoff game at Levi's Stadium, a divisional playoff game at Levi's Stadium, and they would not have to leave the friendly confines of Santa Clara unless they had to go on the road to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. But as we know, Jeff Saturday is a fraud. As an interim coach, he should have been fired right on the tarmac. The Colts in that game were an embarrassment, and the Vikings came back from that 33-0 deficit. I was calling it Purdy 3-0 until the Vikings just mount that epic stage, and because of the win against Indy on Saturday, the Vikings do maintain that grasp of that number 2 seed in the NFC. Philadelphia Eagles did beat the Chicago Bears on Sunday in a game that was choppy for Philadelphia. They almost fell into that trap game spot, but even on a down day, they were still the much better team than Chicago. So it looks as though that Philadelphia is going to have that number 1 seed. Basically, what they would have to do to lose grasp of that top seed, lose the rest of their games. But with a win against the Cowboys on Christmas Eve, they lock down the NFC East and the number 1 seed. Basically going to be impossible for Philadelphia to not have that top spot. Now, the San Francisco 49ers, with 3 games left, this upcoming Sunday against Washington, then against the Raiders, then against the Cardinals, can still get that vaunted number 2 seed, but they're going to need a little bit of help from the Minnesota Vikings to drop some of their remaining games. And then you look at the other teams here. Dallas Cowboys, folks. How about them Cowboys? We love when they go down, and they did that on Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars, losing an OT as Dak Prescott threw a 52-yard pick six. The Sunday night game, Washington, New York, that is yet to take place as of this recording. So obviously that's critical for both of those teams at 7-5-1. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they were up like 17-0 against the Cincinnati Bengals. They might lose that game, but it doesn't have any implications on San Francisco because they're probably going to win the NFC South, but as far as their playoff seeding, even if that happens, Niners have the better record. Bucks probably going to be in that 4th spot, barring some miraculous turnaround and a collapse for Tampa Bay, and then a turnaround for Carolina, New Orleans, or Atlanta, who are all now 5-9. So that is an updated look at the NFC playoff picture with 3 weeks left in the regular season following Sunday. And for San Francisco, they're playing great football right now, right? And if you like how this team is playing, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. They've won 7 games in a row. They're playing complimentary football, even with Brock Purdy as the starting quarterback. He has been so good in 2 starts and 3 games so far. And this is a team that's going to get back Deebo Samuel. This is a team that has the best overall defense in the National Football League. From a skill set perspective, they have so many weapons all across the field. And right now, Kyle Shanahan has been in his bag. So the hope, of course, is that San Francisco does get that 2 seed. They fall into that 3 spot, a road game against Minnesota and Kirk Cousins. I have total confidence that the 49ers defense, led by defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans, can really unseat, rattle, and disrupt what the Vikings like to do offensively. This is a team that has a plus-minus point differential this year. So that's really telling. They've won a lot of close games, to their credit, but they've also lost a lot of games by a large margin. We don't know if the 49ers are going to get that 2 seed. We do know that they are the NFC West champions. Following that loss on Thursday night, or following the win, on Thursday Night Football against the Seattle Seahawks, how sweet was it to go on the road against a fierce rival in which you had lost 17 of your last 21 regular season games, going back to 2013, and you celebrate by popping the champagne in the visiting locker room at Lumen Field in Seattle against your fiercest rival. It was great. And if you want your NFC West champions gear, you can get it now. Chatsports.com/NFC West. There's this sweatshirt available from Nike, shirts, beanies, hats, whatever you need, chatsports.com/NFC West. So one more look at the NFC playoff picture here, and then we're going to talk Brock Purdy and Odell Beckham Jr. Does it look as though he's definitely going to the Dallas Cowboys? 49ers, they get that 2 seed. Things really start to shift and become a lot more interesting. But I do think that San Francisco matches up very, very favorably against those Minnesota Vikings. The remaining schedule for Minnesota: home against the Giants, on the road against the Packers, at the Bears. Remaining schedule for the Niners: against the Commanders, on the road against the Raiders, and then home against the Cardinals. To Brock Purdy now. Glock Purdy. 11 and a half quarters. He's exceeded all expectations. He's been really good. And even though he came in that game against Miami, Brock Purdy climbing up the ladder for Rookie of the Year odds. Get this, folks. He has the NFL's 5th best odds to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, behind Saints wide receiver Chris Olave at plus 425, Packers wideout Christian Watson plus 375, Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker at plus 300, and Jets receiver Garrett Wilson at plus 150. How about what Purdy's been able to do? 108.8 passer rating. He's completed 69% of his passes, 612 passing yards in about 11 and a half quarters, 6 touchdowns to 1 interception. He wouldn't be in this position if the Niners as a team weren't as talented as they are. He wouldn't be in this position if it weren't for the coaching of Kyle Shanahan, Brian Greasy, and the rest of this offensive coaching staff. But let's give credit to Brock Purdy where credit is due. The guy has executed. The guy's been accurate. He's had anticipation. He's been able to identify blitzers at the line of scrimmage, make the correct checks, and provide this team with some leadership qualities that up to this point has been very impressive. Now, it's been 2 starts, 2 and 3/4 games. Defenses are going to adjust. Now it's up to Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy to counter-adjust. And I'll tell you this about this game. Coming up against Washington this upcoming Sunday, of course, we'll be doing a watch party for. Cannot wait for it. It's going to be a feisty game. It's going to have a playoff feel because depending on what happens Sunday Night Football between Washington and the New York Giants, either way, actually, either Washington's going to be more desperate with the loss or they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot with the win. It's going to have a playoff type of atmosphere because that's one of those games. Like you get that 2 seed, you get that 3 seed, you could be hosting Washington in the first round of the NFL playoffs. So maybe a preview of what's to come. And they have a good defensive line. They play, safe football offensively, but Taylor Heineke has been really good. Going to round out the show with the latest on Odell Beckham Jr. According to Jerry Jones, the Cowboys owner, and I wonder if his stance has changed since that choke job to Jacksonville. He said this quote: Odell is going to join us. There's a good chance he will, with the complete goal of getting ready for a playoff game or 2, and then I'll look to the future. But most of it being right about now. Now, OBJ tore his ACL in the Super Bowl last year. Is he going to be able to come back and make an impact for a team for the playoffs? Or is this just classic Cowboys in which Jerry Jones, who can't stop talking about OBJ, just can't help himself with OBJ? It's pretty fascinating either way because if he goes there, it makes the Cowboys a little bit more interesting, although until they actually do something in a big spot in the NFL playoffs, I'm not going to really count on the Cowboys to be a serious threat. I think the Niners match up with them, but OBJ is a really good player. And it looks as though, as of now, according to at least Jerry Jones, that OBJ is going to go to the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, we've said it all along, probably not San Francisco. But if he goes with the Cowboys and the Cowboys and Niners meet, of course, going to have an impact on San Francisco. Before we hop on out of here, make sure you give me a follow, Twitter and Instagram, at Chase_Senior. Greatly appreciate all of you for reaching out to me, your support, you watching the show. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you on Monday for more Niners news, rumors, and analysis.